If you're my age or older, you might know what that's a reference to. Movie. Starring Robin Williams about a radio DJ whose job it was to keep morale high among the troops as the war raged on in that country.
Picture a man going on a journey beyond sight and sound. He's entered the demilitarized zone. Good morning, Vietnam! Wow! I feel good. Time to rocket from the Delta to the DMZ. It's 0600. What's the O stand for?
Oh my God.
I'm calling this video A Soldier's Diary. And it's going to be an expansion on and discussion of my last video, which was kind of me expressing my frustration about why haven't I done more to protect myself and those I love from what's going on around us when I know what's happening and I could see it coming. That's what my last video was about. And I have to say, the vast majority of people, they get it. They get what I was saying. But there were a few haters.
That is not what we program here.
Surprise, surprise, surprise!
You are not funny.
You're not going to last long.
And I get the argument to just ignore haters and move on. But this is where, if I just ignore the people who really didn't get it or who really wanted to take a shot at me over that stuff, if I just ignore that and move on all the time, then we don't really learn anything.
If someone is not telling the truth, you say that they are full of...
We're in a war, a real war. It is not kinetic. It's not your typical tanks and bombers type of war, but it's a war. And if we just keep moving on to the next story inside the war, if we just keep chasing the information overload subjects, like, for example, yesterday they trotted out two big distraction stories, Nancy Pelosi's husband getting attacked, and then this mass chaos, supposedly, in Korea at a concert or something, some Halloween celebration where a bunch of people got crushed to death. If we just constantly move on and analyze these little laser pointer things without a through line of what it is that the war is doing to people on a personal level, then, you know, we're kind of just playing their game. We're playing into their hands. So that's why I'm doing this video, at the risk of some people saying that this is all self-indulgent BS on my part, that I'm navel-gazing, that I'm obsessed with myself, that I'm talking about myself.
You want to stick to playing normal modes of music. Jim Neighbors, Mantovani.
Percy Faith.
Percy Faith, good!
You know what? If that's your opinion, fine. You know, I'm not forcing you to be here. Go away. Go away, because this video is not going to be about the news. This video is a soldier's diary. Okay? That's how I want to look at it. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing a shirt that says K-Yao. I know it looks like it says Shagale. Have to flip it for you to read it. But it means no surrender. No surrender. So anybody, again, who's interpreting my last video as being some kind of story of being worn out and surrender, no, that's not what it was. What it was just me letting it out to you. And I will say, the vast majority of people who wrote to me said something along the lines of, you expressed what I am feeling and dealing with so well. I just want to say thank you for putting into words a feeling, an angst that I couldn't put into words. That was the vast majority of you. And, you know, it's understandable. There are so many things coming at us at once that we can't, it's difficult to collate our thoughts into like a small box where we can even express it to ourselves. So I view one of my jobs as a soldier in this war as being to incorporate the emotional, psychological aspects of all of this, the frustration. Okay. I'm probably going to flash away from myself during some of this and just put up images on the screen because I have to read some notes. This is the soldier's diary perspective on what's happening now. You know how soldiers who come back from war will sometimes they'll tell their war stories, and sometimes they'll be the type of person to never talk about anything that happened. They just clam up. Well, I assume that a couple things might be happening with those types of guys. It might be too traumatizing for them to go through it. They just don't want to talk about it. Fair enough. That part of their life is over. Let's move on. And why do they want to move on? Because what they were fighting for was a happy and free society. They were fighting so that their family could live in a good world. And so if they were to sit there and elucidate all of the horrors they saw, they would bring their families down. Maybe that's one reason. Maybe another reason is they didn't go through so much trauma and they might feel guilty for that. Like, I was all right. Or maybe they never thought the war was justified anyway, but they don't want to tell anybody that. But another reason they might not want to talk about it, their war experiences, because they know already that none of their family could ever possibly understand. Because the experience of being in the trenches encompasses so many different things and such a long sort of timeline. Like, how do you express to someone what it's like to be in a mud ditch for weeks, never being fully dry, never knowing where your meal was going to come from, never knowing if you were going to be blown up the next day or get some disease or whatever. Nobody outside of that situation can fully understand all of the aspects of it. And if you tell the story, they might very well be sympathetic, but they never can understand it. That's my perspective of what it must have been like to fight in a kinetic war and then come back home after the war is over. But I don't know. I wasn't there. I will never understand what that was like. And moreover, nobody can ever understand another individual person's experience. Everybody will have had different traumas that happened to them. Different people have different sorts of constitutions that what might roll off one person's back might really impact another person. Okay, but this war that we're in right now is totally different. This war is on our own territory, for one thing, but it's invisible to a lot of people. How people react to it will depend on their previous belief systems, their age, what they know of the past and how it used to be, what their aspirations were for the future, their religious convictions, their upbringing, their economic status. It will depend on so many different things, but it's not deniable that we're all caught in a war right now. Whether or not we as soldiers, the people, let's say, who didn't take the vaccines, the people who don't wear masks, the people who tell the truth to their families, you're all soldiers. We're all soldiers in this war. If we don't talk about the toll that it's taken on us, then we are cheating one of the best ways to fight the war, I think. Like when you messaged me, anyone who did, and you expressed to me your situations and your emotions, this really helped me as a fellow soldier to understand. And it might also help the people who don't realize they're soldiers. They don't know. They're just going through pain. They feel assaulted from different angles, and they don't fully comprehend that there's a war going on. They might not have realized that there's a serious toll being taken on all of us until someone like me or others who are willing to talk personally about it come forward. So, the people who think that I was being manipulative by playing on sympathies.
But if you toy with me, I'll burn you so bad you'll wish you died as a child.
All I can say is you're wrong. If you think it is weak to express the frustration and the sorrow and the doubt, you've never done it. That's what I think, especially publicly.
It's dangerous out there. Things just jump out at you.
People, there was a person in the comments who, yes, has been following me for a long time. I recognize the name, said to me, I used to get value out of your videos, but now you've shit the bed.
Oh, I got your pansy ass in a sling now, Cronauer.
Excuse my language. Why, Gary? Why? Because I am allowing people to glimpse the real emotional part of this war and the toll it takes on a soldier? Would you say that to a veteran? An actual veteran of World War II or the Vietnam War? Would you say that? If they said, my psyche is a bit shattered from all of this that's come at me. Would you say that to them if they talked about it? Okay, let's move on from that part. There's another really important thing I want to talk about my last video, and something I said. It's been weighing on me since I said it. And that is that I said, I have no one really to bounce this off of. I don't have a group of close friends and family with whom I can discuss these things. And I'm really a bit worried that the people I do know and have made friends with feel insulted by what I said. Don't mean I can't talk about events with them. I can, but I can't plan with them. That's the bottom line. To those people who think that you have a husband, obviously you can talk to him. Obviously you're grifting all of us when you say you're alone, when you say you don't have people to bounce these things off of. This is the analogy that I came up with. It might be a little bit like how it feels to be bound by secrecy, like an intelligence operative would be, or someone in high-level, confidential, top-secret laboratories somewhere. You can come home to your family, you can try to persuade, you can try to set different things up to make yourself secure. But the knowledge that you have and the perspective that you have because of that knowledge is literally something you can't communicate. And so the dilemma for those people and myself and lots of us is what we value. Do you say, okay, well, I am not, what I'm fighting for is my family and happiness. Right? That's what we're fighting for. Justice, rule of law. We're fighting to be in a society that makes sense again, where we can all be together and be happy. So the choice is to burden those people with all of the knowledge that you have, thereby making them depressed and scared, in order to sort of maneuver them into making drastic changes in their life. Or you could say, well, okay, it's not fair to do that to them, and chances are I won't be able to translate what I know to them anyway. Like the soldier on the battlefield. You just can't explain it. So what's the point of burdening people with this? Okay, or you could say, well, I see what's coming in a big way. I know what I would do if I were totally free, alone. Then I would make certain moves. But because I want the relationships, I can't. What do you pick in that situation? What do you pick? Do you get it? I think you probably get it. Look, The stress is getting to a lot of people, and I think this is the time when we must be honest about it. Will this empower our enemies? Well, only if they think they're going to win. Like, the stress gets to people, but it doesn't mean they're going to suddenly knuckle under to the system or stop fighting. It doesn't. It just means that they're being honest about the stress getting to them and growing and changing over time. I am not the only one. I mean, do you know Martin Geddes? He just did a video where he's talking about the information war and the psychological impact that it has. He was mostly talking about how it gets impossible to keep up the side of this that comes naturally from being a public soldier in this war, where people want to talk to you, they want to communicate with you. And in order to be like a good steward of your own platforms, you feel, I mean, part of it would be communicating back, right? But as he expresses, it's impossible. It's impossible to have a proper communication and connection with everybody who emails, everybody who sends notes, everybody who sends letters, everybody who leaves replies and comments on every platform that you're on. You can either just give a very short thanks for your comment reply, which some people find insulting, or you have to kind of engage on a person-to-person level with everybody. And it is so hard to do it. I've heard Max Egan talk about this as well. Because, well, just be sensible about it. It's so hard to do it. Emotionally, incredibly draining. If you want to do it right, you have to really listen. You have to really pay attention. You have to really think through your responses. And it's not possible. And then you fear that affects your business model. Because what people value is the connection. Whereas if you're just a Bart Simpson character, like, I'm sorry to do this, I don't mean to slam this person and this channel, but like X22 report, he's like Bart Simpson in a way. He doesn't change, he doesn't age, he just keeps repeating the same hit phrases that'll get the clicks. And I'm not slamming him, okay? But I'm just not him. I doubt X22 replies to any emails or comments ever. And someone like me or Martin Geddes, we're just different people. We're doing this for maybe different reasons. I don't know. I can't guess at to the reasons as people are doing what they do. But I've heard, like I said, I've heard Max Egan talk about the same thing. This empathy burnout. The number of emails, the number of connections, burnout. And by the way, Max left me a very kind comment, thank you so much, on my last video. And someone that knows him got in touch with me as well, and her email to me was so lovely. Thank you. Thank you both very much. And thank you to everybody who left comments. There's so many wonderful people out there just waiting for a chance, I think, to be compassionate, to share what they know and what they're going through, and to share a prayer, to uplift those around them. And the crazy irony of the internet is that the people we get a chance to do that with most often are strangers from another land. Because people are not willing to open up, like, with each other in real life. It's very risky. I so applaud those of you who are able to do it out there day to day. And I know there's people like that. And you're my heroes. It's amazing. It's great. But I have a lot of shielding around myself because of the lessons I've learned, because of my experience as a soldier. Some of you might not like me using that word, but I think it's an apropos word. It's appropriate. My role is different. And I also want to point out another person who was brave enough to share what had happened to him, which was Just Informed Talk. I think it was him. talking on this Red Pill 78 video about the Google lawsuit that I'm involved in. They were talking about the lawsuit and the arguments in court that happened last week. But there was a section in there where the people involved, the people who had been deplatformed, talked a little about what it was like to go through that. And for me, it was so cathartic to learn that I wasn't the only one who felt a very strong emotional setback from that. It's devastating. And it was so good to hear everybody talk about how it affected them. And the fact that other people don't understand. Unless you're doing this, you don't understand. You don't understand the myriad ways they get you all at the same time so that you know you are being attacked.
Why'd you do this? I don't like your style, your politics, or your sense of humor. I don't like what you say or how you say it. You're on a DC-8 from Tonsanut Airport tomorrow at 18:30 hours. I recommend you pack quietly.
Just like every soldier that there has ever been, we are fighting for what we believe. In this jumbled up world of fake news and misinformation and disinformation, we can only go on what we feel inside is the right thing. Because we don't know who is manipulating us, and we don't know the truth from fiction in a lot of aspects. But we do know what is right and kind and compassionate. We do know that we should offer our hospitality to people in need. We just should. That's the way to get the world back on track. Not by virtue signaling, not by acting only on fear, not by fostering a sense of distrust in those around us. And unfortunately, with everything changing minute by minute in our world, not even by so much trying to plan the future out, which is my own stumbling block. Because I always want to plan for security, but it's really difficult these days. So what we need to do is keep that through line of decency and virtue, honesty, confronting the demons, and our actions. I believe the only thing we can do now is in the present moment with what's right in front of us, act guided by our higher sense of what's right and wrong. That's all we can do. The present moment. String them together to make what will become the past so that we can build upon that towards a better future. Okay, guys, I'm going to stop talking now. Thanks so much for being here. If you've listened to the end, you have my sincere gratitude, because what is this direction I'm going on? It's a human direction. That's all I can say. God bless you all. Pray. Keep your heart. And go over to my website, amazingpolly.net. I almost forgot to plug it. I'm sorry. I have to do it. You know, I don't have a normal job. So yes, I'm plugging my website, amazingpolly.net. Go over there. If you can contribute, I have a donate button there, or I have my P.O. box, which is on the contact page. What would help me out immensely for anybody who can't contribute, or, you know, just contributed and can't do any more at the moment. Thank you so much for that. But you can share this video. You can subscribe to my channel. You can maybe join Gab. I'm over there, Amazing Polly. All right, everybody, zip it, Polly already. Amazingpolly.net. Until next time, peace out.